Thobela baratiwa ke la magala go YouTube channel ya ka nna ka dine ke sale mina tau wa ma semola. I would like to take this chance to thank each and every single one of you for tuning, subscribing, and being part of Leloko la Baratiwa. To all my channel subscribers, hi Baratiwa, hello Baratiwa, welcome back. To all my new subscribers, hi Baratiwa, hello Baratiwa, welcome to the family. Yay! Oh my gosh, this video, it is long overdue, and I would like to say I am so sorry that it took me so long to sit down and record. First of all, I had to find my statements so that I can do this whole thing. Also, I've been quite busy at work. It has been just like a couple of weeks, months that I've been busy. Actually weeks, not months, because August was like literally last week. So it has been like a couple of busy weeks since coming back from my vacation. So without wasting any more of your time, let's get right into today's video. So the first thing I will start is that everything will be based on my expenses and how much everything costed me. I won't be speaking for my friend's part because she had her own budget and I also had my own budget, but in overall, when we were planning the trip, we were planning it together. So this is going to be the travel cost breakdown of my budget to Singapore and Malaysia during summer vacation. One thing I want to tell you is this will sound like it's quite a lot of money, because it is a lot of money. Secondly, we traveled to Singapore and Malaysia during summer break, and that was during peak season, so it's like the highest season to travel to either Singapore and Malaysia. Both countries are actually they have tropical weather climate, so they either have like rainy season or dry season, and we went during dry season, and dry season is the peak season, so that's why things will be a little bit more expensive than usual. But then at the same time, I just want to say that Singapore on its own, it is an expensive country, because in Singapore they use dollars. They use Singaporean dollars, and one Singaporean dollar to South African currency, it is like 14 rands. So even though you'll be like, oh, that's not bad, it's actually quite bad, especially when you want to eat at restaurants. And yeah, also another thing that I want you to be aware of is that in the video I will actually be grouping things, so I won't be separating things. I just want to show you in overall how much I spent based on the budget I had set out for myself. As I've said again, I'm going to say it again. My friend and I had individual budgets. I don't know how much was her budget. This is my budget. And you guys can get to see how much I spent on the budget I set for myself. I was outside. I went to Singapore for 3 nights, 4 days, and then I was in Malaysia for 8 nights, 9 days, 12 days. I spent 12 days over the trip. The whole trip was 12 days long. So yeah, I can't calculate properly. So yeah, let's start with my budget. My budget was actually 30,000 rands, and in Japanese yen, that is about 240,000 yen. I know there's like 100 something yen that I'm supposed to be adding there, but like everything is in South African rands, but I will convert into Japanese yen for anyone who's watching and they're in Japan and they want to know how much it will cost them using Japanese currency. So we're going to start with my flights. So I booked 4 different flights, and in total all of my flights were 13,866 rands and 16 cents. So the one flight that costed me a lot, it was actually the flight from Japan to Singapore, because I spent 6,625 rands 9 cents. And that flight included also buying a check-in space. Like when I decided to, like, I don't want like the flex, the saver. I wanted like the flex saver, which is you get your carry on as well as you get to buy for a checked in bag, and that's what I did. Accommodation in total, I spent 4,811 rands 6 cents, and because we slept in 3 different hotels, so we shared the cost as usual. So both of us paid the same amount of money for accommodation, which is 4,811 rands 6 cents. And then after that, I obviously need to connect with, when I'm outside of Japan, I want to be able to connect on the internet. I don't want to only rely on the hotel Wi-Fi. So I got myself an eSIM, and I decided to get an eSIM from Nomad eSIM, and I got the Nomad package for Singapore, Malaysia, as well as Thailand. It is very, very affordable. I spent 302 rands on my eSIM, and this was 20 gigabytes for a whole month. I bought for 30 days because they either had like a 7-day eSIM, which was 15 USD, and that was like $5, like 5 gigabytes. So I decided to get the 20, which is more cheaper because it's the 22 USD as well. In Singapore, I actually spent most of my time swiping or using my card. The only time I ever got to withdraw money was once, and I withdrew 50 Singaporean dollars, and in rands that was 648 rands and 48 cents at the time. That was during then, and of course you get charged your international fees, withdrawal fees. I also accounted for them, but I will talk about them later on. And then public transportation in Singapore, everything was 1,322 rands. So with the public transportation, it actually is not the real it's not the real, what's the word, projection, because for using public transportation, using a bus and the subway, day 1 I spent 75 rands, day 2 I spent 97 rands. The 1,150 that I spent for Grab, it wasn't necessarily for Grab. It was for Grab from the airport to the hotel the day I arrived, as well as a Grab from the hotel to the airport, as well as a Grab at night. From, instead of like walking from the station, we decided to take a Grab from the station to our hotel. That was like twice in both days. It also included the fact that when I arrived in Singapore, Tebe decided to buy me Nando's. So I had to repay her. I was just like, oh yeah, like I would love some Nando's, because to be quite honest, the one reason why we went to Singapore was because of Nando's. For me, it was because of Nando's. She went because of a wedding, but I was like, I want to go there not only to see Singapore, but also Nando's, because we don't have Nando's in Japan. So she got me Nando's, and I had to repay her. And I feel like there are a couple of things that she was paying for me, like my henna. She paid for my henna, so I had to repay her for my henna. Like a couple of things where I asked, like, oh, can you please pay for me, because she had the cash. I was like, oh, please pay for me now, I will transfer the money to you. So everything, considering the Grab as well as the little things that I asked her to buy for me, they all amounted to 1,150 rands. Public transportation in Singapore is very, very affordable. The only thing that you need to do is just to swipe your card when you enter at the bus as well as at the subway. You don't need to get like the public transportation card. You just need your card. As long as your card is a Visa, a MasterCard, as well as an American Express, then you're sorted. I don't know other cards that are allowed. Those are the only 3 that I can say they are definitely allowed. And then for food, souvenirs, as well as activities that we did in Singapore, I spent 2,171 rands 91 cents. The food is quite expensive because 1,000 rand for the food, souvenirs, and activities was only spent on food, and that was because we had Japanese pancakes at a restaurant, and that was like 500 rand. Pancakes as well as a cappuccino, 500 rand, which was insanity. And we're like, whoa, what in the, yeah. And the second time we had food at a restaurant is when we went for the fish and chips. That also costed us 500 rand. Like, we were like, we don't land. We genuinely do not land. Because, like, why? And I think it's because when we passed that place the first time, there was a lunch special. With the lunch special, we were probably going to spend like 250 or 200 rand, and we were okay with that. But then we arrived at the place after the lunch special, so yeah, we had to pay the original price. That was not nice. So yeah, that's basically how much I spent so far for my flights, accommodation, eSIM, as well as the things that I got up to in Singapore, like my food, my transportation, as well as activities that we got to do. Souvenirs, when I say souvenirs, I basically mean the key holder that I bought for myself, as well as my crybaby, that is the Powerpuff Girls crybaby blind box, as well as my blind box for my Stitch. What else did I get? I think that's it. I think I also got like I also got like a bag chain for Stitch in Singapore. So that's why everything amounted to that much. So yeah. And activities that costed us money in Singapore was actually karaoke, as well as going to Gardens by the Bay. We went to the Dome, Cloud Forest, not Cloud Forest. We went to the Dome, Flower Dome, Cloud Forest. We went to Cloud Forest, not Flower. We went to Cloud Dome, the one where you get inside the dome and there's like Jurassic World thingies. So yeah, that was also quite expensive because that one was like, I think 50 Singaporean dollars or something. That's like 600 and something there. I don't remember how much it was, but it was that much. Next, Malaysia. So I spent most of my time in Malaysia, which was Langkawi as well as Kuala Lumpur. So in Malaysia, instead of using our card to swipe, we actually withdrew quite a lot. The only time I ever withdrew in Singapore was once. The remaining times I withdrew was in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, we would literally withdraw like 200 ringgits, 200 Malaysian ringgits every now and then, and that kind of amounted to, because of the activities that we did, as well as food, as well as transportation, because we were trying to make sure that transportation we were paying cash instead of using our cards. So in Malaysia, in total, for food, transportation, souvenir, did I buy a souvenir in Malaysia? Not really, but yeah, I got like and souvenirs that I got for myself, and Nando's sauces, as well as things like my Smarties, my Cadbury, my Lay's salt and vinegar. Everything amounted to 3,512 rand 87 cents. That is food, activities, transportation, as well as souvenirs. Whatever I'll call souvenirs. It's not souvenirs, but we'll say they're souvenirs because they are souvenirs for myself. Those are the things that I wanted, and I got to come back to Japan with. Everything was 3,512 rands 87 cents. And then my withdrawal fees in total, they were 490 rands, and that's because I withdrew 7 times throughout the whole trip. The first time was in Singapore, and the other 6 times was in Malaysia. So yeah, so in total, my whole budget, I had budgeted myself 30,000 rands, but I ended up spending 26,000 rands, 913 rands and 69 cents. So that is how much I spent. So yeah, the next thing we're gonna talk about, it is what I think you guys should do, like how we planned the trip and what we did. So first of all is that I wasn't the only one planning the trip. Both of us planned the trip. So when it came to us deciding that we go to Singapore and Malaysia, it was because of my friend Taba's colleague friend. Taba's colleague friend was getting married She was getting married in Singapore during summer vacation. So Tebe and I were talking about how, this was last year, by the way, I think, when we were booking flights to go to South Africa during December, and that was like around November, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was like last year, November. And she was like, oh, my friend is getting married next year, August. I'm going to Singapore. And I was like, I'm coming. I'm coming. I was like, no, friend. I was like, funny enough, I've always wanted to go to Singapore. So yeah, let's go. I was like, also, not just Singapore, let's also do Malaysia. Instead of like just being in Singapore for like a couple of days, the other days we can use them in Malaysia. And then we get to explore a bit of Southeast Asian countries. And yeah, we're just like, yeah, no problem, we'll do that. That's what happened. With how we planned the trip, we didn't plan in the sense of like, oh, I focus on flights. No, it was more of a, okay, friend, on this particular day, let's meet up on this particular day so we can buy our flights and finalize booking hotels. And that's what we did. We saved up enough money that by June, the end of June, we called each other, and we were like, okay, friend, let's just book the flights. So we booked the flights to ensure that we get on the same flights, firstly, and also that we sit next to each other, which, did we sit next to each other? I don't think so. I feel like, yeah, we never sit next to each other. We booked to sit next to each other, but then the flights the airlines, they chose for us. So, I don't know. I really don't know. And then, so yeah. How did we book flights? We used Google Flights, actually, to help us track as our flights and to see how much we will potentially spend based on our vacation days. So yeah, and since our vacation days were fixed and they're not flexible, we had to know how much we will be spending. So definitely use Google Flights to track your flights, to find out, like, yeah, so stuff like that. Another thing is, with accommodations, we use booking.com. So we booked together in a sense of like, we went through accommodations and like, oh, do you want this one? Do you want this one? So like, for example, I'll probably search, oh, accommodation in Singapore. And I'm like, oh, friend, there's this accommodation I found. It's really cute. It's literally right up on our budget. Like, it's lower than the budget we set for ourselves. I like it. I don't know about you. And then, you tell her and I will tell her the name, vice versa. We'll tell each other the names and we will check. I'm like, oh yeah, I like it. Like, definitely. How far is it from the airport? What's up? Those type of things. How far is it from public transportation? Because our key thing was like public transportation. Like, how far is it like from the bus stop? How far is it from the train station? Things like that. So that we know like we're not very far away, but at the same time, like, we're not too close to the train station for us to get our sleep to be disturbed. You know what I mean? Something like that. So yeah, that's what we did. So yeah, those were like the two things that we had to plan, which was flights and accommodation. The other things like activities, food, souvenirs, we saw them when we arrived in the country, guys. My friends and I, when we travel, we're typically the person of like, okay, this is what you can generally do. We never have an itinerary. It's always more of a, generally, these are the activities that they have. These are the things that you can do. If you want something that feels like Gold Reef City type of vibe, they do have a theme park. They do have an amusement park. If you want to go to the zoo, we're not really zoo people outside of South Africa, because zoos in Asian countries, especially, well, I mean, Southeast Asia, they do have like animals, but zoos in East Asia, very depressing. Things like that. So yeah, we never had an itinerary. We just had more of a, this is what we could potentially get up to when we on our trip. And then every night before we go to bed, we'll be like, okay, today was great, amazing. Is there anything you want to do tomorrow? What can we do tomorrow? What is it that we can do that's different from today? And that's how we go along with our itinerary. That's how our itinerary tends to look. Our itinerary tends to look like, we can do this, we can do that. We'll see. And then we genuinely would see. We'll see how we feel when we wake up. We'll see how it feels when we go to bed. Like, oh yeah, tomorrow let's go, to the zoo, and then you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like the zoo, actually. I want to go to a theme park, and we do that. So yeah, we are not itinerary people. We don't have like a set itinerary. Secondly, I would definitely say try to plan your international trips like a little bit. I will always say give yourself like 12 months to plan your trip, right? I feel like even 9 months is enough time to plan your trip, especially if you know where you're going, especially if you know that you have set dates. If your dates are very fixed, then do give yourself literally like 9-10 months, like minimum 9 months, to start planning and saving, so that it doesn't feel like you're spending quite a lot of money out in 1 month, because you're trying to book your flights, your accommodation, your activities, the whole thing, right? Also, my friend and I, we do not have travel insurance. Do not be like us. Do get yourself a travel insurance. We do not have a travel insurance because I don't know. There's no reason. We risked our life. We were just like, yes, Petrus Mutsepe vibes. Let's go. I feel like even Petrus Mutsepe gets a travel insurance. Definitely do get a travel insurance. We did not get it. I feel like even when we were booking our flights, we didn't get a travel insurance, and we were like, we are risking here. What happens if our bags get lost? What happens, right? And we didn't insure our bags, we didn't insure ourselves. So yeah, don't be like us. Please do better. Do better. What else can I tell you to do or not do? I think one thing I can tell you guys is don't be strict on your itinerary. Let your itinerary be flexible in a way that maybe day 1 is the day you arrive, you don't get to do anything. You literally check in at the hotel and you rest. Day 2, you explore. Day 3, you rest. Day 4, you explore. Day 5, you rest. Please give yourself enough time to take it one day at a time. Don't have an itinerary but you have to be rushing from one place to another. You want to be able to enjoy your time on vacation. Vacation is not only for traveling, it's also to relax. So imagine going on vacation and all you did was travel, and you never got a day of relaxing. And then you get back home, you're way more tired and exhausted than you were when you left home. Don't do that to yourself. Please do not. So yeah, definitely travel, explore, as well as relax. Like, give yourself breathing time to relax. Don't focus a lot on just trying to hit those bucket list or like Instagrammable places. You can come back as many times as you want in one country. No one will ever be like, oh, you've been here before. No, you've never been. Like, yes, you've been, but you haven't seen the whole country. So don't try to see everything in a short span of time. Just give yourself enough breathing time to enjoy and to be like, you know what, I will come back again, and next time I'm going to explore this part of the country because I didn't get to explore that one. Those are like the wise words that come from me, that I feel like my friends and I, we live on the fact that we can't do everything. Let's only do the things that we are able to do today. We don't think about, we can do them tomorrow. We're thinking about today. We only have 24 hours, which is today. So today, this is what we can do. And if things do not go according to plan, it is okay. That's part of life. Things don't go according to plan for everyone. You're not the only one. Other people out there, they're freaking out. So don't freak out. Just relax. You are on vacation. The fact that you left your comfortable place, you left your city, you left your town, you went to a different city, a different town, a different province, a different state, a different country, that is enough, because you got to step away from your everyday norm, and now you're in a new country. So take it one day at a time. Explore that country, not only as a tourist, but as a human being, as well as a local. You get what I'm saying? Like, be a tourist, take things the way they are, be in awe, be surprised, be like, oh my gosh. Take your time. You're on vacation and you don't know when's your next vacation, so take your time. And yeah, like, it's people travel to the same countries every single time because they love those countries. And when they go to those countries, they don't only explore one place, but they go to the next city. So do that. Don't just be forced like, oh, I only have like 10 days and I have to do like 3 cities. 10 days, it's enough for two cities. That's it. And after that, also in those 2 cities, don't try to hit all tourist places. Please, ke a kgopela. O ska ba, I could say, like, man, iketle. I get it. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching, and thank you so much for being part of the family, tuning in, subscribing, comment. Please do not forget to comment to let me know what are your thought process, and also do give us some tips and tricks and hacks and do's and don'ts when it comes to planning your own trip and going on a budget. What are the things that you do that worked out for you, vice versa? So yeah, thank you so much for watching, tuning in, being part of the family. This is it from me to you guys. Love you. See you next time. Bye.